To create visualizations in Domo, it's essential to have the data readily available beforehand. Let's look at the various ways of connecting data in Domo. The first method is by going to the data window and clicking Connect Data. You will need to choose between connectors, upload a spreadsheet, or federated. Since we are just going to upload a simple flat file for this first example, select Upload a Spreadsheet. This will open the File tab of the Add New Data window, where we can drag and drop a file from our local storage, upload a file from a cloud storage, or create a web form. We have our file saved on the local desktop, so we're just going to drop the marketing.csv from the File Explorer to this window. Once the file is uploaded, we now have the option of configuring the format. All data from a CSV file is imported into a dataset when you build it, even if you click and drag to highlight a specific portion. The checkbox for generating headers is for files that have no header in the top row. By ticking this box, Domo will generate a new header row with generic names such as _column, _1, _column, _2, etc. Since we have headers in our file, we don't need to check this option. Keep leading zeros checkbox will let you retain the numbers 001 or 002 instead of truncating them to 1 or 2 and converting them to proper numeric data types. When you keep the leading zeros, Domo will translate those columns as text. This is useful for ID columns or strings. For now, we will keep this unchecked. File encoding by default is set at UTF-8 for CSV files. You can freely choose a different encoding in the dropdown if you have special characters or language in your dataset. Delimiter by default is a comma for CSV files. If your file contains other forms of delimiters, you can select it from the dropdown or choose others and type your custom delimiter. Finally, data format is the structure of your date columns within the file. These are just the options for CSV or flat files. For Excel, there will be separate configurations for selecting sheets, headers, and data selection. Click Next to continue. Next, we need to set the dataset name that appears in Domo. For this file, we will change the name to Marketing Customers and type a short dataset description to identify the contents. Input dataset with demographic data for marketing and select Save and Run to finish setting up the CSV. Upon saving, this will lead you to the dataset's detail page, where you find the number of rows and columns, last update, and type of connector. The center part is the dataset overview, which shows the number of cards, powered, data flows, people with access, and alerts. All these tiles also provide jump-off points to other actions in Domo using this dataset. View Full Impact shows the lineage tab for the data set. This details the raw data sources, transformations done, and connected data sets related to the current data set. Create a visualization opens the analyzer for this data set so you can build a chart or table from it. Share this data set opens the menu to share with other Domo users in your organization. Tidy up this data set opens the interface for creating an ETL data flow using this data set. Create a new alert opens the interface for creating an alert on the data set. You can preview the records by navigating to the Data tab. In this tab, you are presented with a preview of the records on the data set. Sort and filter the data, see statistics of each column, change the order, rename, edit descriptions, and add tabs. Data tab is made up of 3 subtabs: Table, Schema, and Stats. You navigate between the subtabs by clicking the subtab icons in the upper right corner of the Data tab. By default, this shows the table view where each record can be previewed, and a filtered chart is on top to let you know the general distribution of values in the data set. The Table subtab has different components that help you analyze data. This is a search field on the upper right to let you find specific columns. Each column has a sort button which lets you sort the records in ascending or descending order. Each column also has a data type icon which tells if it contains numeric data, date, or date-time data, or string data. The filter chart lets you filter the data in the dataset based on the values in each column. Different chart types appear for columns depending on the data type for that column. For example, string columns will have a horizontal bar that is segmented for each unique value in the column, while for date and numeric columns, there will be a vertical bar chart similar to a histogram with a horizontal slider. The other subtabs are schema or stats. Schema lists the column name, type, description, and tags, while stats lets you see the Domo-generated statistics for the columns in your data set, like the number of nulls, unique, existing, min, median, max, average, and correlations of the column to the rest of the data set. Now that we have the subtabs covered, let's look at the other tabs that we can access in the data window. The Cards tab shows all cards sourced by this data set. Since this is a new data set, there are no cards available. We will discuss more about this tab in the visualization lesson of this course. The next tab is for Settings. Here you have access to the options used to set up this data set, like the view that appears when you initially configure a connector data set. Click a row to open the settings in that row for viewing and editing. In the Data Lineage tab, you can see the data sets that have been combined and or transformed through data flows or data fusion to yield this data set. The History tab provides a record of all updates made to the data set. It displays the start and end times of each update, the duration, whether the update was manual or scheduled, and the outcome, successful or failed. Additionally, it shows the time elapsed since the last successful update, the average update duration, and the overall success rate. You can also access various actions for any history entry by hovering over the row and clicking the wrench icon. The tab for PDP, or Personalized Data Permissions, enables you to tailor the experience for each Domo user by setting up entitlement policies. These policies allow you to filter dataset information for specific users or groups. Alerts tab show the alerts set for the current data set. And finally, if your Domo instance has the AutoML capability, you have the Shortcut tab for AutoML or Automated Machine Learning to apply models to your data set.